babes, Adelina here, and welcome to my Watch Me Resin No Touch Keychains. I'm so excited. I purchased this mold from Mochi Molds on Instagram. Please go check out her shop. Her name is Michelle. She's a wonderful human being, and I highly recommend her for silicone molds. To get started with this video, magical babes, I do want to talk about resin safety. Please use gloves and use an air filtered mask. I use this mask. This is the one I highly recommend. This is the brand of resin I like to use, and this is what I use, the silicone measuring cup, and I also use some cups on the side with some popsicle sticks to mix everything up. For today's molds, I'm going to be using these molds from Mochi Molds on Instagram. I'll be sure to leave a link to her shop down below in the description. These are the 2 bottles of resin that come inside the resin box. I'm going to go ahead and pour a ratio of 1:1 of each bottle inside this silicone cup so I can mix it up later and make it into resin. Well, it's already resin, but you know what I mean, to make it completed so that way it can go into the mold and harden and make a cute little charm. Anyway, when I mean 1:1 ratio, I mean that you have to pour an equal part of both bottle A and bottle B, and then you mix it really well. Before you mix it, it has this murky color to it, and once you know you're finished mixing it, the resin becomes a little smoother and it becomes clear like this and filled with air bubbles. This is when I like to use my pink heat gun and pop all of the air bubbles. But of course I wait about like 8 to 10 minutes, and then I use the heat gun, and then I pour it into my silicone mold, or I use a cup, whatever I have on the side. Then I add some paint. Ooh, and Neko Deco craft shop glitter. I just got this glitter in the mail and I love it so much. I've never gotten molds from her, but I've always wanted to. One day. But for now, I love her glitter. It's just so sparkly. You can never add too much glitter. As you can tell, I love glitter so much I can't help but add so much of it. So I keep mixing it until I think all the glitter is done, otherwise it will stick to the sides of the silicone cup when I'm done pouring it in there. Of course, magical babes, you're probably wondering why I am not just pouring it in there myself, but I have a habit of, when I do so, it tends to overleak and I spill and I waste the resin, and I didn't want to do that. After adding so much glitter, I did not want to waste a drop of this resin. But this is the end result of the heart charm. I even made this flower charm as well. These are all my charms that I have made, and I figured since I was making one charm with you magical babes, why not make a bunch? Because I had all of these charms that I had made in the upcoming days of making this video. So I thought, it would be a lot of fun just to make them all together all at once. I use liquid latex when I dome my charms. Please be advised, magical babes, I do know a lot of people that are allergic to liquid latex, so if you are, you can always just go ahead and look online for different doming tips and tricks on YouTube. That's what I did when I first started using resin. I started watching videos the first 2 weeks while I waited for my first box of resin, all my silicone molds, and yeah, this is me a year later after knowing how to do resin. And I'm still learning myself every day. This is after all the charms have dried up after me adding latex to them and mixing another batch of resin so that way I could dome them. And when I dome them, it makes it smooth and nice to the touch. I like how it feels when I rub my fingers against the charms and they're smooth and beautiful, and I just love it myself. It's just, I feel proud that I made it, honestly, myself, and it just makes me happy, and it makes me just hope that whoever purchases my charm will love it just as much as I did when I made it and created it. After waiting 24 hours for these charms to dry, I went ahead and peeled them off and used my pliers to pull off the residue of resin. Then I got my UV resin and I quickly poured it into this little measuring cup, and I got these disposable paintbrushes from Dollar Tree. I bought a packet of them because the UV resin tends to dry very quickly. I used the resin to add it on this little gold bale, and then I add some on the charm itself. Then I UV it with the light on there and it sticks. I do it for each one of the little heart charms because they don't have a little built-in bail like the circle charms do. And I know I can use an eye screw type of bail, but I prefer these gold bails more, honestly, in my opinion. That's just my preferred preference. When adding a bail to a charm, I like to make sure I add extra resin to the part where I domed it with the bail, where the bail is located at, I mean, because I want to make sure the bail doesn't come out and that it always stays sturdy and put whenever my guest has it. And I also want to make sure that the side that the bail is on is smooth to the touch as well and not bumpy or scratchy or any way can make the guests upset. I want to make sure that they're happy and love each one of my little creations. Well, at least that's what I hope for with every sale. This is me peeling off the residue resin with my pliers and peeling off the latex once it was done, being domed on both sides. And ta-da! These are all the charms! Of course, I have to sand all the charms when I'm done peeling off the latex to make sure they're extra smooth. Of course, I should be using gloves, but that's why I use my fingers to make sure they're smooth. Next, after sanding, I get a large bowl, fill it up with water, add some dishwashing soap, and then add all of the charms that I just sanded into the bowl. I know it sounds strange, but I need to mix them in order to make sure all of the resin residue that is still on the charms after sanding all washes away and goes away and doesn't come back for another day. Ta-da! This is the end result of all my keychains. I'm so happy with the way they came out. And of course, I took away the beaded charms at the end of this video because I know they defeat the purpose of the germ-free No Touch Keychains. But I added them as a cute little accessory to this video. Until next time, magical babes, I really hope you have an enchanting day. Thank you for joining me on my adventure today. I hope you stay safe, and I'll see you on my next magical adventure. Until then, goodbye!